Hey there everybody, it's Mike DiLisio, and today I'm going to be doing one of a series of videos where I'm covering all of the characters in Merchant's Cove. This includes the base game characters and the 3 expansion characters as well. I'm also going to talk a bit about the Secret Stash expansion. What I'm planning to do is give you a brief overview of how these characters play. Then afterwards I'll talk to you about what their level of complexity is ranked among all of the characters within the game, the main mechanisms that run those characters, and all of this is going to culminate in a video where I'm going to rank all of the Merchant's Cove characters in the order of my preference. So, without further ado, let's take a look at today's character. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Secret Stash. This is a small box expansion that you can get that is modular in nature. It adds different things to the core Merchant's Cove experience. And so if we just kind of look through the rule book here, you can kind of see the different things that you can add. There are new corruption cards you can add to the game, new rogue cards that are going to change quite a bit how the game would play out during the market phase, essentially. You have a number of those, looks like 14 total. Then you've got different town folks set that are also going to kind of change the way the game feels, the way the game plays. You've got some gray rogue goods that are only used when playing the Underworld Town Folk set. You've also got some new boats. You've got a 2-seater boat and you've got 5-seater boats. That obviously is going to change quite a bit with how you have to manage your customers. You've got boat setup cards to give you a unique boat configuration in each round. Halls of Plenty, Lair of Villainy, all of these, like I said, are just modular small expansions. The Dragon Island Festival, you can play with faction leaders. There's also a significant amount of solo content. Sorry about the glare there. There's a whole scenario book that I'm going to show you here in a moment that they talk a bit about here. All right, so a separate book that came with it here, all filled with solo scenarios, which you look on there and it's going to tell you different things how you set up. So for example, this Pax Inferna, it would tell you that you use the Grey Walkers, the number 7 rogue card. You start with no rogues in the lair and 7 in the adventurer bag. It tells you which townfolk sets to use. It gives you any differences that affect during the different phases, during the production and market phase, treatment, and then final scoring, any differences there. And then this goes through, there's a whole bunch of different solo scenarios that you can play through that are going to significantly change up the way the game goes. This one, this Something Fishy, is chapter 1 of 3. All right, so you would play through it, then Benefactor, and then Invasion. All right. Now, there's one more part of this Secret Stash box, but I feel like I should state that this is a bit of a spoiler. However, if you have the Secret Stash, I imagine you want to stick around and watch this. If you don't have it and you're considering it, I don't know. Just know that there's a bit of a spoiler. Underneath the insert that comes with the Secret Stash expansion, you're going to find some stuff. Number one, you're going to find a player board for a new character. All right. Now this is something you would have to print off the rule book, which I did, and I'll show you. It also comes with these 2 cards hidden down there. All right. You can play as the Thief. This is the rogue card that you would use for the Thief. You have to use this card if you're playing with the Thief. All right. Here you see that I printed off the rule book. I'm not going to go over how all of this works. I'm also not going to include this character when I run through my ranking of the characters, just because not everyone necessarily is going to know about this or play it. But just know that this works significantly differently. And I printed this off. You can see I got the orientation of it wrong, but essentially, the way the Thief is going to play is that you want corruption. You're going to be trying to get corruption normally you would gain corruption cards or townfolk cards. You're never going to do that. Whenever you would do that, instead, you're going to move up these tracks, all right? And you eventually can turn in these secrets, this stuff that you're hearing on the docks through the rogues, to turn them in for secrets that you're selling. Basically, the goods that you're selling is information. You're selling information as the Thief. So a very unique character. It doesn't really feel like any of the others. I don't know exactly if it's been, fully play tested. I don't know if it was just something that's for fun, but I do want to mention it. And if you're interested and you have the Secret Stash and you didn't look under the insert, you can check that out and see if it's something that you might want to add in as well. All right, so let me go over and talk a little bit more about what I think about this expansion. All right, well, there is the Secret Stash. This is a small box expansion, as you saw, that is modular in nature, and I really do tend to like those types of expansions, especially for this game, because this is a game that by its nature has an asymmetrical feel to it, and so you've already got a little bit of a learning curve for people who are starting off. So I would not particularly add any of the Secret Stash components, contents to somebody playing for the first time. It's not a heavy game. Merchant's Cove is a medium weight, I would say, game. But there's enough going on that I feel like these are things to be added in after you've played the game a couple of times, a few times. It adds different little layers of complexity. It adds different things you need to think about. It adjusts oftentimes how the kind of the market works with the customers and how the boats are kind of working, and having those different sized boats can really change things up as well. I think that this is a really good expansion to add in after you've played the game a number of times, explored some of the characters, found out which ones you like best, and things along those lines. To me, the biggest kind of the biggest part of the Secret Stash that's going to be appealing to people are for solo players, because of those solo scenarios. That is a fantastic level of content if you like to play this game solo. It's something that I would suggest if you're going to get it primarily as a solo player. This is an expansion that I would definitely recommend, because it just adds so much to the game replayability wise. You know, just playing through the different characters as a solo player, that's quite a bit of content there, especially if you add in the other expansions. But if you really feel like you want to go with more, get more of an experience, the Secret Stash is a great way to do it. Going through those solo scenarios changes things up, gives you some different kind of experiences within the game. So that to me is the biggest element of this that I feel like can add some value for solo gamers. Now, I did mention some spoilers in the overview, and so I'm going to kind of talk about that more again. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, then maybe skip over this part. But just briefly on that secret character, the thief character, it's one that I don't want to talk too much about. I've only played it a couple of times. Again, I've got the impression that this was something that was added as something that was kind of fun for people that wanted to kind of try out something. This character feels very different from the other characters within the game. The whole way it works is different, and it's cool. I mean, it is not something that I'm going to be including within my ranking of the Merchant's Cove characters, just because it's kind of off on its own. It's its own thing. It's fun for that. I think it's a neat little kind of Easter egg surprise for people that discovered it or found out about it either through this video or a different one. So I'm glad it's there. It's very cool. But to me, that's not even the main selling point of this expansion. To me, the main selling point of this expansion, other than having some extra little modules to add, is for solo gamers, having all of those solo scenarios. Just a huge, huge benefit to solo gamers in that aspect. All right, well, that's all I've got for the Secret Stash. This is Mike DiLisio signing off from Dice Tower headquarters.